Welcome everyone to another Organofix Australia webinar. Today's topic is electrohypersensitivity. It's a topic that I've been wanting to do for quite a long time because it's such a vitally important subject, especially in this day and age when we're surrounded by everything that emits radiation, from our cells to earth radiation caused by geoelectric charge to, being within Wi-Fi fields, electrical fields, you name it. As we know, we're surrounded by it. So what is electrohypersensitivity? It's a condition where people feel physical discomfort when they are immersed in charged radiation fields. And as I said, it's not just from one source, say from Wi-Fi or your mobile phone. There's, as we've identified up to roughly 30 different types of radiation fields that do exist as in charged fields. And I'm not talking just a radio frequency wave, it's got to have the positive charge. And it's not all from technology, man-made technology. As I've always said for a long, long time, we, us human beings, when we're physically and emotionally unwell, become a walking radiation field. We're like a walking smart meter, so to speak. And so there are some people out there who are extremely sensitive, extremely environmentally sensitive, and they are the ones you call the real electrohypersensitives. Although we all are electrohypersensitive. We all know that if we pick up a phone and make a phone call with the phone to our head, we're going to instantly feel those physical symptoms. That's sensitivity to the charge field caused by the phone we're in call. I know some people who, if they're not even on a call, if they're touching a phone, they can feel the current running through the body, because you don't have to be on a call for the phone to cause electromagnetic stress in the body, even in flight mode. Some people put their phones in flight mode thinking they're safe. And in a lot of cases, they're thinking of other people, which is a good thing, around them, especially children. They think that being in flight mode is going to make the phone safe, but it actually doesn't. As soon as you touch a phone, as I've always said, the body comes under electromagnetic stress. And that electromagnetic stress, if you don't feel it overtly, is always having an effect on the human meridian system. And it's the meridian energy which is affected by radiation fields, because, as I've always said, our meridian energy and meridian or bioelectric channels in the body, whatever you want to call it, operates on a negative charge frequency. Radiation is harmful to humans, has a positive charge. So when you're immersed in a positively charged field, the meridian energy is compromised and is depleted. So the meridians are then not able to supply the correct energy to the organ. So then the organ suffers in a sense that it's not getting the correct right amount of meridian energy to operate properly. As I say, we're all electrohypersensitive to certain degrees. As a manufacturer of harmonizer and as a building biology consultant, you would understand how many people come across my phone or consults I've had over the years where the people are actually genuinely electrohypersensitive. They've got all sorts of things going on around them, and it affects them so much that they're at their wits' end. And there's one thing that I've discovered with electrohypersensitive people is that they all, first of all, aren't well. So if you're the type of person that can't go to a shopping centre or can't get within 1.5 meters of your wireless router, or can't go into certain parts of the house or certain bedrooms due to bioplasmic fields or due to earth magnetic grid lines or whatever it is, I found one thing in common is that they all seem to have Epstein-Barr virus. And this is something that isn't public knowledge. It's not the sort of thing that my competitors know about. Actually, they're all copying me left, right, and centre. But it's something I've discovered over the years because we work so closely with naturopaths, chiropractors who practice kinesiology, kinesiologists of all different types of modalities, and there's not just kinesiology isn't just one modality. Bioresonance practitioners, especially the Bicom Lamora practitioners. Now, all of those practitioners are our customers, are our wholesale customers, because they are the people who have the ability to test a radiation harmonizer and work out whether it's actually working or not by testing it against a real person. They don't use EMF meters because EMF meters don't tell the truth about what's going on. But one thing I have determined in the end is that all of these severely electrohypersensitive people have Epstein-Barr virus. And often I'll get a phone call, and this is a typical phone call which I get numerous of them day to day, day in, day out, is people ring me and they say, I've got something going on in the house, I feel really uncomfortable, I can't sleep, I've got this symptom, that symptom, because the Epstein-Barr virus, you can't put it into one group of symptoms. The symptoms vary across the board. I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. And then it extends on to that, I can't drive my car because I don't like the energy from the car. Actually, I don't like using my phone. And then they go on to say that, when I go out, if I go to a shopping centre, I can't last 5 minutes. And then on a sideline to that, which is really interesting, people who visit us at expos who are electrohypersensitive say, why is it I'm at this expo and I'm electrohypersensitive, but I can stand it in here? That's because we're using a harmonizer here. Get back to the phone call. And so as the conversation goes on, we're building a picture. This person is really, really environmentally sensitive, and not just to radiation fields. It can be to outgassing, which has a charge. So like with new carpets or paints or petrol and things like that, they all have positively charged fields, and there's another aspect to that. So that as the conversation goes on, the picture's being built that this person has got something going on with them in the background. And often I'll get the people to text me a photo of themselves so I can read their energy fields. It's something I've been doing for a long time. I'm not a practitioner. I'm an intuitive building biologist, and I can have learnt how to read the human energy field to pick up any, what would you call it, imbalances in the field. And as soon as I get the photo, their energy pops out at me like you wouldn't believe. Their energy by their photo is absolutely upside down and all over the place. And because I'm not a practitioner, I sort of say to these people, do you think this is normal? And they go, yeah, had it all my life type of thing, or I've developed it X amount of years ago or whatever. But I said to them, go and see someone, go and see a practitioner, because it's not normal being that electrohypersensitive. And they'll go off and see a practitioner, and I often ask them to come back to me, like, come back and tell me what they said, what came up. And it always comes back, that 9 times out of 10, they always come back saying, oh, the practitioner said I had a virus. What was the virus? Oh, let me think. Oh, Epstein something, yeah, Epstein-Barr virus. I think even in the medical meeting book, he mentions that in his chapter on Epstein-Barr, he creates a link between that and electrohypersensitive people. So it's actually quite an interesting thing or fact that goes under the radar and no one picks up on it. It's interesting too, because if you go to a doctor, and a lot of doctors won't actually recognise electrohypersensitivity, it's probably due to the pressure from the skeptics, because a lot of the skeptics don't believe that radiation even exists. So how can someone be electrohypersensitive? Like, oh God, type of thing. But, the WHO recognises electrohypersensitivity. So, and the doctors all bow to the WHO. So why aren't they recognising it? It's always the alternate health practitioners. They're the ones who are recognising electrohypersensitivity, because they're the ones who have seen who patients that maybe have been to doctors, and doctors said, there's nothing wrong with you, it's all in your mind, it doesn't exist. Radiation doesn't exist. You're all tin hat people, as they say, and that's a really derogative term too, the tin hat saying, which has been really, really pushed by the mainstream media over the last 6 to 8 months, because they're all trying to, what's the word, censor anything to do with 5G, which we all know. And so they're claiming that all you people who are electrohypersensitive, they're using that derogatory term tin hat people, whereas that comes from people who have been electrohypersensitive in the past, and the sensitivity has been in the brain, and then when they're in charged fields, the brain gets scattered. And so a tin hat, in a sense, is a type of shielding, and whether it's actually working or not, or it's just a placebo, some people did actually get some relief from that, but it's not really the right way to approach it. That's why we have harmonizers. Harmonizers change the charge field from a positive charge to a negative charge, thus neutralizing it. But then I see another situation with electrohypersensitive people when they're using harmonizers, claiming that they're getting no relief. And that's a really, really interesting one. And it also comes up in bioresonance, where a practitioner may be testing a person for electromagnetic stress and geopathic stress. And geopathic stress comes up, but they're using harmonizers, which neutralize the geopathic stress. And that is because of the distortion in the human biofield, which is actually a radiation field. As I said before, we are all walking radiation emitters, and we're emotionally and physically unwell. Our meridian energy is depleted, our organs are producing a positive charge into our biofield rather than a negative charge. And those people who are electrohypersensitive and don't get what they say results with harmonizers is that they're actually tuning into their own biofield. They're not tuning into the environment. It's their field around them, and their own biofield, because of the state of their health, is something that harmonizers don't fix. It's up to us to fix ourselves, to get ourselves right, eat the right foods, have the right belief systems, drink enough water, all those things that we know that we need to be doing for a healthy lifestyle. But that's how you reduce or correct your biofield. But if your biofield is completely out of whack, you're actually going to be sensing that, thinking that you're perceiving the environment around it. So you'll say, oh, but that's that thing there is not working because I can still feel the Wi-Fi from 50 meters away. And when I see that situation, I go, yeah, you're not feeling the Wi-Fi from 50 meters away because it's impossible. The radio frequency wave has no charge, and the peripheral nervous system, the meridian system, is not affected by that radio frequency wave. It's actually your own biofield. This is the people who are really, really sick, and who are not having luck with technology to help them. It's their own biofield that they're perceiving. And getting back to what I was saying about the bioresonance practitioners, when they pick up geopathic stress in the body when the person's been using harmonizers for a while, and these practitioners come to me and they scratch their head going, how does that happen? Why is that happening? Not pointing the finger at me, but saying, why is that happening? And so, well, shoot me a photo of the person. What have they got? What's going on with them? And when you read the person or hear what's going on, you then it's, as I say again, a case of the person's energy field, and in bioresonance, it will always come up as being geopathic stress. And there's a reason for that. And that is that a person, and we all sit, we all stand, we may lie down, if you know what I mean, we might put our feet up. But take the average shopping centre and the electrohypersensitive person in the shopping centre, and they complain, they go, I don't like it, I can't stand being in there, I get out of there as soon as I can, I can't stand the smell of the new packaging or the new materials, and I don't blame them either. I walk into some shops, some furniture shops, and just going, oh God, let's get out of here. New materials, newly fabricated materials use all sorts of glues and plasticizers and all sorts of things like that, which outgas and give off a toxic odour. But it's just getting back on track. The person who can't stand the shopping centre is because of the people in the shopping centre. And the people in the shopping centre are all walking around, and a great majority of the people in that shopping centre are, how would you put it, their minds generally aren't in the right place. Not saying that people are always like that, but they've always got something on their mind. A lot of them will have their own systemic health issues. They'll have emotional stuff going on in their mind. whether it be family, financial pressures, whatever it is. Or they'll be just that type of person. Every time they go into a shopping centre, they just get frustrated that not the right service or something's going on with all these people. So all these people in the shopping centre and the amount of people in the shopping centre, their biofields become a charged field, become a radiation field, has a positive charge, and it goes down into the ground and through the ground, and it becomes a geoelectric charge through the ground. That means that the shopping centre, the entire shopping centre, is engulfed in radiation. And then you get geoelectric grid lines occurring, which are earth magnetic grid lines, which only occur when there's a strong geoelectric charge going through the ground. And the geoelectric charge going through the ground causes radiation to come up out of the ground, roughly 1.5 metres. But in a building being a resonant cavity, the whole building's filled with charge. Then up pop these geoelectric grid lines, which run north, south, east, west. They're about 70 metres apart and they're about 2 metres wide. So the poor old electrohypersensitive person in the building is probably contributing to the geoelectric charge also. But because it's a geoelectric charge, it's earth radiation. And that's why with the bioresonance practitioners, when they test people who've been using harmonisers, most people, they're testing if their health is not in a good way at all, then naturally geopathic stress is going to come up because they're causing their own earth radiation by their charge going into the body, which comes back out around them, and also is caused by the multitude of other people in the shopping centres. Often I've read the energy of the shopping centres late at night when they're shut down, when there's no one around. It was something I did during the lockdowns last year because everything was closed. And it was really interesting to see, like, our local shopping centre, actually our local shopping centre has a geocleanse in it, so it's a great place to go. Another shopping centre I know of down the road, I was reading that a couple of times during the lockdowns when they weren't open operating, and there would have been some lighting because of security, but the buildings weren't full of people, and there wasn't a geoelectric charge running through the buildings. Only when the people enter the buildings en masse, and you've got to take the workers too. If they've got issues with the boss or the company or whatever, when they're at work, they're a little bit hot-headed, and their biofields are inverted too, so they're contributing to it also. It was an interesting observation back in the days of the lockdown to go back and read these areas where people say, I can't go into them when they're open. Or another one I hear from people who are electrohypersensitive or very sensitive people is that I prefer to go to doing the shopping very, very early in the morning or very late in the day when there's no one around, because when you reduce the amount of people in the shopping centre, you're going to reduce the amount of geoelectric charge going through the ground. So it was an interesting thing to actually read that during COVID. Okay, I won't go on forever about EHS. I didn't want to do a long webinar today. I'll just go to my questions, and if there's any there, because I like asking the questions. And I've got Karen Winter, she's a great kinesiologist. She's asking a few questions about, you got bacteria, virus as well. I'm talking about Epstein-Barr, and funguses react to EMF. That's interesting. That I've heard of that. I've read that. I've also heard some people saying that Wi-Fi or radio frequency is it propagates the mold growth, which you're talking funguses, but actually I can't see that happening because the amount of buildings that I'm going to which have got Wi-Fi, which we all go into, full of mold or haven't created a mold problem since Wi-Fi started. Okay, next thing I'll just quickly talk about, as I said, I don't want to go on forever because you can't talk forever about EHS. I just wanted to get that point across about we created ourselves in a sense. If you're sick, it's not right. If you're EHS, it means you're sick. It means that's not a normal thing. And some people say, oh, it's normal. I'm put up with all my life. Just as we're going out today, we've got our Mother's Day sale. I don't plug everything all the time, but we've got our pink Mother's Day Stelladone. These things look amazing. Every mum should have one of these at home in a handbag. so don't forget that. We'll have another webinar in a couple of weeks' time with another subject. I'm tending to want to keep these short rather than to drag them on, because these are edited then to put onto the website, which is great. But I don't want them to be too long a listen or a watch once they're on the website. I've just got to be mindful of that. So thanks for being part of it today. I've got great participation. That was really good. We'll give you plenty of notice before the next webinar, and we'll make another interesting topic. Thank you, everyone.